Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I know, it's been a while, but I'm finally back into the swing of things and I'm here to make weekly videos. Hopefully. But before we start, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below if you haven't already and hit that notification bell so you never miss a video from me. Alright, now let's get into the video. Originally I was going to make a video on a February plan with me, but literally everybody I talked to all said the same thing.
I can't even draw a stick figure. I don't have time to bullet journal. Everybody's so much better than mine.
Just stop. Don't compare your level 1 to my level 5. I've been bullet journaling for the last 2 years consistently, and even then, I really don't think I'm as good as some of these Instagram bullet journal artists, I guess you could call them. But who cares? Can you draw a line?
Yeah, but it's not straight.
It doesn't have to be. Can you draw a heart?
Yeah, but it's kind of lopsided.
Good. Then I have a spread for you. Except I'm uploading this on January 31st, fingers crossed, hopefully it all goes well, and tomorrow's February, so you guys are probably sitting there wondering, thanks for the heads up, Stacy, that's fantastic. You don't have time to plan your month before the day gets there and the day's here, and then you don't want to do it now because you want to wait till March 1st, because then February 1st is already here and you don't have time. Don't worry about it. That's the point of this video. We get so overwhelmed with what we see online that we don't really look at what bullet journaling is meant to do. It's meant for you to figure out how you want to plan and what's best for you, not what Sally is doing over on Instagram with her fancy spreads and her watercolors and her gouache. And people get some pretty crazy things going on with their bullet journals, and I'm not at that level. I'm not at that level. So here's what you're gonna do. Go out and get a notebook. It could be from Dollarama, Walmart, Staples, wherever. Go get a notebook and go get some pens or markers. For notebooks, I recommend either Scribbles That Matter, which will be linked below, or the Leuchtturm. I'm probably butchering that name, but you can get that at our local Kohl's, so no excuses. You can even go and get a Moleskine from Staples, because that will work too. I personally like to use Scribbles That Matter the most because the paper quality is twice as thick as what you'll get from like a Moleskine or a Leuchtturm. Those are, I think, 80 or 90 GSM, and the Scribbles That Matter and the Archer and Olive book, which I'll talk about in March, those are both 160 GSM paper, so it's good for any marker, any pen. You could watercolor, you could paint on those suckers, and you're not going to get bleed through or rippling or anything like that. And bleed through triggers my OCD, so trust me, I've gone through the books to find which one will work. As for pens, I personally use Faber-Castell markers, which you can get at either Michael's or on Amazon. But the Staedtler fine liners are what I use for colored pens, and they have a black one, so I mean, you could get those at Staples, why not? For my thicker lines that I use for some of my calligraphy that it's colored, or for the art that I'll do randomly throughout that's a bit thicker than just your little fine liner, those I use good old-fashioned Crayola Super Tips, which you can get at Staples or on Amazon. You can even get at Walmart. You know what, honestly, you could probably even get it at Dollarama, let's be real here. But I'll link those down below for you guys. You can check them out if you just want to order everything on Amazon. Other than that, I don't really use much except for a pencil, eraser, and a ruler. I mean, even then, sometimes I don't use a ruler. So now that you have your supplies, you're probably concerned about the fact that you are now into February and a day behind on planning. Guess what? You're not. Crack open your notebook and write your name. It literally doesn't have to be anything fancy, but if you want, you can always write your name in a fancy font and try to mimic it. That could work. Unless you have a Scribbles That Matter or Leuchtturm, you may not have the next 2 pages. A key is valuable when you're learning about your planning style, but you can make it to whatever you want. Here's an example of what a basic key system looks like. Trust me, you can make it to however you want. I literally just use the circles for tasks, you know, cross it off for completed, etc., and the dot for notes. I don't use anything else. The next page is the index. Some people use it, others don't. If you make a lot of random lists in your planners, this will be ideal. But if you don't, then you can just skip over it. As a heads up, the notebooks I recommended both have numbered corners, which makes indexing a lot easier. Here's where we get into the meat of the bullet journal. And if you're panicking, because again, it is February 1st, most likely when you're actually planning, then have no fear. Grab a pencil and write on the pages lightly what you're reserving them for. Or write them on a post-it note and come back to those pages when you have more time. But the pages I do recommend are a grid spacing cheat sheet if you're using a dot grid notebook like I am here. They're super handy for later on when you're making spreads and you have aggressive OCD like me. It's not necessary, but I personally refer to mine a lot. The year at a glance is a great quick reference for the year ahead. I personally make mine over 2 spreads. A lot of people only put 1, but I like to put important holidays below the dates like Christmas or Father's Day. I wouldn't recommend ending in birthdays here because we could take care of that in the next set of spreads, which are the future log. The future log is where I add in all of my appointments, birthdays, days off, really whatever I find really important. I use these spreads when I make my monthly pages because I know I mark them down as important events in that section, so I refer back to them when I'm making monthly and then weekly and then daily. And that's it. I mean, a lot of people do add things like their resolutions, cleaning schedules, and stuff like that. But what I find really helpful is just do these ones for now, and then as you're going through your bullet journal and you make these random lists throughout, when you migrate to your new one, add them at the front then, because if you actually utilize them, you're going to be like, oh, okay, well, maybe I should have these at the front, instead of putting them in now and being like, I didn't use these at all. If you mess up a page, eventually I will show you guys how to make those corrections if they're a little bit more than just a dab of whiteout. If you really mess up, just glue the pages together and move on. Now we start with the actual monthly setup. And originally I was gonna do just something plain just to kind of get you guys started because I really don't want to intimidate you guys with something really fancy. But as I referred to earlier in the video, I'm just gonna make a nice and easy spread for you guys. If you could draw a line, if you could draw a heart, then you could draw lavender. The first spread I personally do is always a calendar spread. A lot of people will have a cover page or a quote page, but as much as I like being creative in my bullet journal, I really don't have time to do that, and I kind of find it just, I never look back at it again, let's be real here. This is just a simple calendar layout where I'll add a lot of important things like appointments from the future log or anything pertaining to my freelance business and things like that. The next page is something I personally think is very important to include, and you can do this however you'd like, but I recommend a goals page with 3 goals you'd like to hit this month, and then have those broken down into weekly steps. These will come up again when we get into our weekly spreads. But having monthly goals to focus on based off your annual goals and then breaking those monthly goals down into weekly goals will help you achieve your goals a lot quicker, maybe not quicker, a lot easier, make it a lot less overwhelming. And you should probably take a shot for every time I said goals in that last sentence. One system I really like to use is the gratitude log. So many people are so focused on what they don't have that they don't take the time to appreciate what they do have. How are you supposed to improve your life if all you're doing is focusing on the negative? If you're focusing on the negative, then that's what you're telling your brain and the universe that's what you want. If you start to focus on what you do have, what you're grateful for, then you're attracting more positive vibes into your life. Therefore, bringing a lot more positive energy into your surroundings. I mean, they do say you are the equivalent of the 6 people closest to you, and if those 6 people are negative Nancys, well, guess what? You're probably a negative Nancy too. So take the time to appreciate everything you have in life, one day at a time. It could literally be, I'm happy for my dog. You know how many times I write that in my bullet journal? All the time. I'm happy for my dog, I'm happy for my fiance, and then I'm happy for something else. A few times it's been Call of Duty because I've just been having one of those days. If you really want to though, you can change this into a one-day journal, like not one-day journal, one-line journal. Just write, you know, today I had a really good spin class. And now on to the most utilized spread into the majority of bullet journals, the habit tracker. There are so many ways to make up this page, but lately I've been using this layout because it forces me to stick to only 8 habits at maximum. I tend to try and track every little thing possible, from drinking all my water, which I track daily, to getting enough sleep, which again, I really don't track daily, but I try to. Brushing my teeth, I literally put brushing my teeth when I do it 2 to 3 times a day anyways, but it's just to check it off the box, so I feel like I accomplished something. Ultimately, if you narrow it down to focusing on 6, maybe 8, I do put in the 8 in this case, but if you focus on just those goals, then you're more likely to stick to that habit you're trying to build versus if you're trying to track 20 different habits all at the same time. Finally, the mood tracker. I find this one pretty interesting to see at the end of the month because actually tracking your mood can tell you a lot about yourself. Were you overly sensitive, but then you remembered, oh, I really didn't sleep well that day the night before, so could that be why? Or did you have a great day and notice that your daily review said that you got together with an old friend? All of these things will help you see what really brings you the most joy in your life so you can bring more of that into your life every day instead of just constant negativity or anxiety attacks. But this is another kind of spread where if you want to adjust it, you could always put a headache tracker or an anxiety tracker instead of a mood tracker. Again, take a shot for every time I said tracker, that sentence. You can also include a blank page for a brain dump or a monthly bill tracker or spending log here. I've previously done mine throughout my weekly spread since I get paid bi-weekly, and I just found I kept up with it a lot easier that way. If you're still worried about not having time to make these spreads, just do the same thing of writing in with a pencil that lightly that you want to put the monthly calendar and then the habit tracker. You can even add in another one if you want to. Finally, it's time to start planning your days. I recommend this weekly spread to start out with because it has a lot of room for you to work with to see what you even like to plan daily or what you like to track daily, for example. You can literally just write the date every morning and plan your days one day at a time if that's what you want to do. It's completely up to you. You can track not only your daily tasks, like I said, but you could track your water intake daily, the weather, how much you slept. With this layout, I like to put the water and sleep actually where the 8th box would be because originally I had put notes there before, but I noticed I wasn't really using it, so why not be more productive and track my water intake throughout the day? There are 8 boxes, so you need 8 glasses of water. I planned it that way for a reason. And that's it. I know the world of bullet journaling can be a little bit overwhelming, and trust me, like I said, I've been in it for 2 years, and I still get overwhelmed when I see all these YouTubers and Pinterest and Instagram artists just taking it to the next level. Let's put it that way. So I wanted to make this month a little bit easier for you guys to try out if you want it to be a little more artistic. I really just suggest plan your everyday, plan your month, see what you even track this month. And then we can worry about the design stuff in March when I will be coming out with a kind of festive, but not really festive. I don't know how to describe it. You'll see. You'll see in a couple weeks. But try out that type of design layout or just do whatever you want and let me know how it goes because I really want to know what you guys want out of bullet journaling. Even if you know what, even if you plan with like an Erin Condren or a Happy Planner, let me know how you plan because I am in the process of opening up an Etsy store. And I'm not going to promise that it's going to be this month. It's more than likely going to be by April at the latest. I will have a few little things coming up before then, more than likely digital downloads because I do want to make sure that I have the right quality paper and shipping supplies and stuff like that. Anybody from Timmins will get theirs free shipping. I'm not going to charge you guys shipping if you're like a block away from me or a block away from my work. I'll drop it off. It's okay. But we'll figure all that out in March or April, whenever. I'll let you guys know. Just, you know what? Follow my Facebook and follow my Instagram for more updates on that. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today. And if you made it to the end of this video, kudos because this is just a rambling mess in all honesty. But if you liked this rambling mess, make sure to hit the thumbs up button below and I'll see you guys next week.